Welcome to JSA TV and JSA Podcasts, the newsroom for telecom and data center professionals. I'm Barb Mitchell, coming to you from the much anticipated PTC 2022, and I'm joined today by Chad Rodriguez, Vice President Network and Cloud from Stream Data Centers. Chad.
Hello, Barb.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And welcome back to PTC. I know that we've all been sort of waiting for this to come back into real life, so it's exciting. And it's been a huge year just for the data center industry, on its own since we last talked. Tell us what Stream Data Centers has been up to for this last year.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me. We're excited. Glad to have a physical in-person PTC conference. We're taking our biggest team in the history of Stream. So really excited about that. And, this year has just been unbelievable for Stream. We've grown from a capacity perspective. Our Phoenix market, which we discussed last year, designed for 5 40 megawatt data centers, just a huge campus. We're going to be ribbon cutting in Chicago with our Chicago 2 facility. It's a 32 megawatt facility. It'll be 4 30,000 square feet data halls. We're seeing a lot of activity in Phoenix, seeing a lot of activity in Chicago already, leading up to ribbon cutting. We've built a stronger team, which is exciting for us. It's we're very selective in who we bring on, and there's a lot of great talent in the industry, and but we haven't grown like we have this year. We've brought on a tremendous skill set. We've added to the leasing team. We've added to our solutions architecture team, Michael Citra, Yvonne Dyer. They will both be present at at PTC. We'll have Michael Hood, our COO, our executive vice president, Anthony Bolner. He'll be discussing channel partners, a new vertical and expansion, and kind of the way Stream is evolving. So lots of activity in the industry, lots of activity with Stream. It's been a great year.
Wow, that's a lot to keep up with. Holy, that's a lot of news. Let's switch gears for a second. And I know that lately Stream has talked a little bit about the convergence of hyperscale and enterprise IT requirements. Talk to us a little bit about what that means for the data center industry and specifically for Stream.
Yeah, it's a great question. As we've evolved as an entity, our initial facilities are really focused, and today still, although we think that'll probably change once the metrics kind of come out in 2022, but over 90% of our capacity is filled by Fortune 100. And so we designed the initial data centers around that and the requirements that we were seeing. Part of the evolution with cloud and large enterprise now, what we saw kind of with the pandemic, there were some projects largely in the enterprise that were paused. We've seen those refresh now, as opposed to where cloud really kind of ramped up and pushed through, really sped track a lot of the projects that they had, and there's been no slowing within that space. And so, but now what we're seeing is that enterprise that's really looking a lot like cloud type requirements as far as larger chunks, 2 megawatt chunk, a megawatt chunk. And then from a connectivity perspective, very similar, connectivity requirements as well. That's why we try to evolve our data centers more so than we have in the past. We're really focused on the relationships, and I think we've done a really great job partnering with different platforms, cloud on-ramp providers, dark fiber providers, high-speed services, making sure that we meet our minimum and maximum requirements that we kind of see in both of those spaces. And so, and that's another dynamic that we've added now with Chris Kincaid. He's head of our development. So now we've actually a total focus set on land site selection and where we're going to build next. And we're looking all over the place at this point.
Yeah. So more expansion for you.
Yes, more growth, more expansion.
I want to pick up on something you said just a few seconds ago about how cloud data centers can provide a benchmark for enterprises to reference when they're making decisions about where to place their workload. You started to allude to that, and I just want to dig into that a little bit further, if you wouldn't mind, and just explain what you mean by this and how this may be important for, say the Fortune 100s or 200s down the road.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about where the compute is stored. And so now what we're seeing, there's all sorts of partnerships and alignment. There's certain proximity requirements to be located to that major market carrier hotel, but now maybe, bifurcate or still have the ability to tether into that facility, but maybe not necessarily house the same size and scale as previously, because the growth again is now we're seeing larger requirements in some of those facilities. The prior data centers or prior carrier hotels aren't necessarily outfit to handle expansion, which we're seeing a lot being a huge requirement. Not just can you deliver the space today, but can you grow with us for the next 3, 5, 10 years? And so, part of those alignments that we see with the enterprise and cloud is at times, coexisting. And where is that housing of the compute, and where can that compute make that next hop to the potential, cloud provider or major network provider that's critical to the enterprise client?
So we've said it already, but there's always so much going on with you guys with Stream Data Centers. It's always, every time we connect, it's always exciting to hear, what's happening. Anything else you want to just sort of hint to for what we can expect to see in 2022?
Well, continued growth. I think there's going to be 2021 was, a record year for us. I think it's 2022 will basically kind of publicly make that a little bit more known as far as some of the initiatives that were underway in 21. Some of the projects we're working on now that we haven't made public yet. I think kind of that'll be seen, but from that perspective, it's really no secret. We're going to continue to grow the team. One other dynamic as far as our development was bringing on a gentleman by the name of Tejo. He's heading up our construction team now. Unbelievable. So he came from the construction side, so providing a pathway for development with Chris to lead that, and then having Tejo leading our construction team. We're really have a very focused skill set. So that's the reason why it's really positioned us to grow. Everyone's aware of the supply chain. So now, as opposed to incrementally on a market by market basis, having worked with our vendors and our partners, now we're saying, we're taking a step back and saying, hey, let's get ahead of this. Let's look at Stream, how it exists today. Across 6 different markets. We've had 25 different projects across the US. And so let's refresh how initial conversations started with our supply chain, our vendor management, and let's look at what Stream looks like today and what it's going to look like in 2022. So that's what really positions us to continue to expand. So hopefully next year, we're targeting that. We're saying, hey, we have a new market or markets. And we're expanding some of the existing sites that we have.
Well, thank you for all of this, and I'm already excited for our next conversation. I'm trying to think when that'll be in a couple of months probably, but and I look forward to seeing you and your team at PTC this year. And so thank you so much for your time here today, Chad, and thank you viewers for tuning in to JSA TV and JSA podcasts.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you, JSA.